What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It is now week 9. We're finally able to dust that Hail Mary out of our system. We got another divisional game coming up this week. We got the Giants, our former kryptonite, one more time, our first time seeing an opponent twice under Dan Quinn, Adam Peters, and Jayden Daniels. Let's talk about it. Representing the New York Giants side of things, I got my guy over from the YouTube channel. How you feeling tonight, my guy?
Hey, man. As you know, with the team, first of all, thank you for letting me jump on your channel and talk about this game, man. Right now, man, the Giants can't be in a worse spot than it is. Heading into that game, we were 0-1. You know, it was a close game against you guys week 2, and you guys have been trending upwards, and we've been trending downwards ever since, man. It's sick to see, but overall, man, I'm excited for this matchup because you never know with these divisional games. You never know. But there is a little bit of a difference maker on your side of the field this time. So, yeah, man, I'm ready.
Sure is, man. Talk about two teams going drastically different trajectory since the last time we seen each other. Your head coach today at the podium spoke about my quarterback. He said Jayden Daniels is already one of the best, most complete quarterbacks in this league. When I watch Brian Daboll speak about Jayden, I just look in his eyes and say, he wanted that boy. I remember off-season Hard Knocks, man. When you look at Washington having so much fun at 6-2, well, what do you feel like? Does it make you feel like that should be us?
I mean, there's one thing I can harp on when we went on live on my channel in week 2. I said, you know, a lot of things go wrong with the Giants, but the moment we lose to you guys is when I know things are unraveling, and it's completely there. I mean, seeing the way that you guys are excited about your team, and obviously without Jayden Daniels, I mean, who knows where this team is? Jayden Daniels is a top quarterback in this league at this moment. He's playing with a lot of fire. You guys are complimenting him well, and he really shook up your whole organization. I think you were just speaking on it in a live stream the other day. I caught your over-under wins was 5.5. You guys are at 6-2. Like, nobody could have expected the Commanders to be here right now. I think you guys, even so with the rookie quarterback, but he's bursted onto the scene, and I'm jealous, man. I'm jealous. I sent you the meme, and for everyone that knows in the chat, man, I sent the meme about Squidward inside seeing SpongeBob and Patrick having fun. That's how I feel as a Giants fan right now, man. We don't have too much to root for. Our quarterback is awful, man. Just awful. It's in an awful place to be in. And, you know, trending forward, man, I mean, we're bad, but will we be bad enough to get a top quarterback like you guys did? I don't know, man.
We're going to see. Sometimes you got to bottom out. Hey, chat, let me know if my audio is good. If I still sound like I'm scuba diving underwater, let me know. I don't know why that would be happening right now, but it feels good. I mean, let me tell you, it feels good to draft a guy, be excited about him, and actually see results immediately. We're talking about a 4-13 team last year. The bottom had to fall out from under us last year. We had to go through 8 losses in a row. We had to lose to Tommy Cutlets, your guy. And while we bottomed out, y'all unnecessarily lost yourself out of position to draft a Drake May, a Jayden Daniels, or any of that. So definitely feels good on this side. Brian Daboll, I feel for him because it feels like it's not his decision, you know? It's the owner and Joe Shane's with his they're just getting his opinion, but he's not really playing a part. And as a head coach in this not for long league, I would be so sick if I went through my whole tenure somewhere without getting to choose my own quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it heading into the season, I mean, it wasn't a secret. They were looking to add a quarterback to this team. They were looking to get a young quarterback. But like you said, last year, Tommy DeVito came in and won 3 games in a row. And that really, really put us in a spot where we were kind of in no man's land. Top 3 quarterbacks, top 4 quarterbacks were up there. We were sitting all the way down at, I believe, 6. And there was no way any of those teams were trading out of that position. We spoke with, I mean, you guys weren't going to trade up your pick. Yep. The Patriots kind of explored it, but they didn't really pour into it. And like you said, man, I think Daboll did want a different quarterback. But it's hard to really like fish on that or really stay put on that after you gave this guy the contract you did and you went to the playoffs. I mean, And I'm not gonna keep talking about that playoff win because it's in the past. Listen, I'm not thinking Daniel Jones is still the guy, but they committed to him for a reason, and I think he thought he could do something with Daniel Jones. And then once Saquon's gone, man, he looks completely different. And we can't even talk about. We'll talk about a lot more of this matchup heading into it. Daniel Jones' woes at home is something crazy that I've never seen before. Like, you think it's an advantage, but it's not for him. And I think Daboll right now is in quarterback hell. He really is. In my opinion, you being the offensive coordinator and the head coach, you need to make this offense go. No matter what the quarterback is, you need to make it go. And I think bottom of the league is unacceptable. It really is. The quarterback is a problem, but bottom of the league is unacceptable, man.
Is it true? Word on the streets is y'all have only scored one home touchdown this year. Is that true, my friend?
It is true. It is true. It's a sad stat. And the craziest part is that one touchdown did not come from Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones hasn't scored a home offensive touchdown. I believe the stat is almost past 2 years.
Oh my God.
When you think about last year, he tore his ACL early. Mm-hmm. Ever since getting that contract, he hasn't scored a home offensive touchdown. It's crazy. This home away thing is a real thing. And overall, I mean, this offense, it feels like a struggle to score points. They kind of had a little bit of a good stretch against you guys week 2, but once again, away is a different quarterback, and at home, everything's tough for this offense, man. It really is.
Man, he hasn't scored a home touchdown since he signed that contract 2 years ago. That is embarrassing. That's embarrassing. And there is no excuse for Washington to be the slump busters of that, because that's a nasty work streak y'all got going on. You're talking about only scoring one home touchdown this year. Was Tyrone Tracy, correct?
Yep, Tyrone Tracy.
We're out here scoring 5 touchdowns in a game at home a couple weeks this year. Y'all got one home. No, that's crazy, man. I feel for Malik Neighbors. I feel for Darius Slayton, whose hands show up every other week. Tyrone Tracy. But let's start with the good. Let's start with the good of you guys. Dexter Lawrence could be the defensive player of the year through the first half of the season.
Oh, I think 100%. When you think about what that award means and heading into the rest of the season, I mean, I think the record of the team is kind of going to hinder him from winning that award, because how much of a difference are you making? But I think you can tell, and a lot of people can tell, man, this guy at the nose tackle position is something that we haven't seen before. Like, he's straight up, you turn on the highlight tape, he's tossing guys left and right. He has to get double teamed every play, and he's still splitting double teams. He's a game wrecker, and I just wish we were able to capitalize on those things. Obviously, we're talking about Dexter Lawrence, but when you talk about the best players on the team, it's him and Andrew Thomas, 2 guys in the trenches. Andrew Thomas is out for the year, and that's very unfortunate. But even thinking about having a good, nose tackle that Dexter Lawrence is, and also a lockdown left tackle, and this team is still bad. I mean, we've heard times where this Giants team needs to fix the trenches. They need to get an offensive lineman. They need to get, a good defensive lineman. This team leads the league in sacks. And we're sitting with a 2-6 record. Like, there's times where we used to wish for this, and now we have it, and we're still not able to capitalize on it. The quarterback is a big reason, but I think overall, man, there's a lot of deficiencies throughout this team. I had a video on Joe Shane, and I spoke on him, man. At this point, outside of this past draft class, you got to look at the past draft classes he's had. They haven't been hitting. They really haven't. You miss on a guy like Evan Neal, the numbers, 7th overall pick.
What does he do? What is he just taking up space on the bench right now? What's he doing?
I don't even know what he's doing at this point, man. When you think about, once again, I just spoke on Andrew Thomas. He's out for the year. You think Evan Neal's going to step into a spot? Nope. Evan Neal is not seeing any playing time. And when you miss on a pick like that, you can't. You literally can't. There's going to be a lot of holes on this team. There still is. And it's unfortunate, man. Dexter Lawrence can still go wreck a game, but he can only do so much. He's leading the league in sacks right now with 9, and I spoke on it, man. The team leads the league in sacks, and it starts with him.
I want people to know how fucking egregious that is, that a fucking zero tech nose tackle, 350-pound defensive tackle leads the league. 9 sacks in 8 weeks is insane. 9 sacks is a great season for a nose tackle. That's a phenomenal first team all-pro season for that guy. Having 9 sacks through 8 weeks is kind of nuts. Y'all lead the league in sacks and are 2-6, and it's because the guy who plays quarterback for your football team. Let's go to your offensive side of the ball. Malik Neighbors has been lights out for the most part. His hands in big moments a couple times this year have been a bit of an issue. And since he had the concussion, I think Brian Thomas Jr. down in Jacksonville has caught up and may have taken the lead for rookie sensation receivers, man. What's going on with your offense outside of the quarterback right now?
Man, when you think about it, Malik Neighbors, he did have that, concussion in that Dallas game where he had over 100 yards. The offense wasn't scoring points, but he was all over the field getting open and, trying everything to do to win that game. Malik Neighbors ended up missing the next 2 weeks. And you think, man, without Malik Neighbors, I solely had this vantage point where I said, no matter what this team does, I'm watching Malik Neighbors play this year. I'm watching him ball out. He had his coming out party against you guys. He had 3 straight games of almost over 100 yards. He had 2 touchdowns against the Browns. And those 2 weeks I was scared, but, Daniel Jones got it done in Seattle with Darius Slayton. You see Darius Slayton making plays. Wan'Dale Robinson is still sort of a threat, but it's super inconsistent, man. And I know we're speaking on past Daniel Jones. Even Malik Neighbors coming back right now. Last week, Malik Neighbors is calling out pretty much Daniel Jones and the offense saying, you turn on the tape, I was open. I just don't get the ball. That's pretty much what he was saying last week. He comes out this past week and he had a solid game, but if you look at the game, he was dropping the ball. He had that, which I could have think if he caught that ball against you guys, maybe the Giants win it. I'm not going to be a would have.
I'm not going to hold you. Maybe y'all probably would have won the game.
If he catches that, the game is in our hands. And literally it was in his hands and he dropped it. He had a drop against Dallas, and then he had 2 big drops this past week on balls that, hey, man, sometimes you got to help your quarterback out. And with Malik Neighbors, the talent that he is, he needs to make those type of plays for us to be, moving as an offense. He is the offense at this point. You saw it last week or this past week with Tyrone Tracy. Man, this guy should be RB1, and there's no reason that he should be splitting carries with Devin Singletary.
He should not at all.
His burst is something that Devin Singletary doesn't have. Now, he did leave the game with, in concussion protocol, so we'll see if he's ready to go. But he's another playmaker that, he's shown good life. And once again, without Tyrone Tracy in the last 3 weeks, we don't put up a touchdown. All of our touchdowns that came off of Tyrone Tracy's back, and there's not too many of them. But once again, without him in this offense, man, I can only imagine where it would be. So, I think moving forward, you see what it is with our quarterback. Got to lean on the running game, set up the play action, and Malik Neighbors needs to be the focal point of the scene.
Don't mean to bury the lead for y'all, but Tyrone Tracy is probably not playing on Sunday because we've seen it play out earlier this year. When Austin Eckler got a concussion on Monday Night Football against the Cincinnati Bengals, that's when I learned extensively what the concussion protocol was. So the concussion protocol is a 5-step process. Each process takes a whole day, and they want you on the last step or completed by Friday when they report the injury report. And coming off a Monday night game, that's almost impossible. So I would probably say it's like an 85% chance Tyrone Tracy does not play on Sunday. So it's back to Singletary, who did find success versus us the last time we played against y'all. But we are 2 very different teams as the last time we played. Very different teams. And while Washington, week 2 and kind of last week versus Chicago, has had games where we moved the ball the entire game, but we found ways to shoot ourselves in the foot in the red zone. This offense is moving the ball on every single team that shows up on our schedule. I seen someone say the league is catching up to Cliff's offense. No, it's not. No, it's not. We literally didn't score 30 points versus the Bears because we got to the red zone and started dropping passes and getting penalties again. It looked like week 2 versus y'all all over again. We're talking about a Bears defense that hadn't give up 300 yards yet. We had 490 yards on the Chicago Bears on Sunday. So as lucky as people want to tell me the Hail Mary was, we dominated this team for like 90% of the game, but we started doing Washington shit in the 4th quarter. When you look at us at 6-2, how we've went about it and how we've really cleaned up some of these bad teams like the Arizona Cardinals that are number 1 in the West right now. We beat them 42-14. The Browns who beat the Ravens on Sunday 34-13. We've had some games where we put some points up on some guy. How do you see this Washington team?
So looking into it, right, like we spoke on in the week 2 matchup, man, we kept you guys out of the end zone. And realistically, half of it was our team, half of it was you guys. I remember watching that game, and you guys had false starts. You were at home and having false starts in the red zone. That's unacceptable.
So much
that stuff kills drives. But ever since that, you guys turned on the switch, and I think the biggest thing, leaving that week 2 matchup, a lot of people felt like your offense was a bunch of screen passes, run after the catch. Hey, man, Jayden Daniels has been letting that ball fly. I see a lot of deep passes from Terry McLaurin, I feel like, every week. And I know you had your little gripes with Terry McLaurin in the beginning, but I want to know how you feel about him now, because I think Terry McLaurin has kind of been, a big part of your offense. But you see the other guys like Noah Brown obviously making an impact on this team. And even thinking about your offense, man, the rushing attack is a lot more versatile than I thought it would be, man. It really is. Eckler and Robinson as a 1-2 punch. Robinson has been great for you guys this year. I know he missed a game a couple of weeks ago, but I think right now, man, you guys are even keeled. And with my defense, I think our defense is a top 10 defense, but we got a lot of injuries that we're battling right now. I got a screenshot of the injury report, man. Like half the defense is down right now.
Yeah, it's
cornerback position is very questionable for us. Deonte Banks got benched last week, which that's a whole topic in itself. I think that's ridiculous. As much as we talk about Dayball, he was tripping on that part. He really was. So looking at it, man, once again, your quarterback is going to be the guy that makes plays. He made a lot of plays against us. He's been making plays every week. You guys been scoring 30 points, I feel like, against everybody. So it's a tall task for us. And with an offense that struggles to put up points, man, if our offense doesn't put up at least some points or give our team a lead, our defense a lead, it's gonna be wraps, man. It's tough to win games when you don't put up points and your defense can only hold teams for so long.
Yeah, bring your track shoes because this offense is coming to play at MetLife on Sunday. But what did Deonte Banks get benched? Did y'all really bench him for Greg Stroman's bum ass?
Bro, listen. Greg Stroman wasn't even on the team 2 weeks ago. Like, Greg Stroman went out there starting for us on Monday Night Football. Deonte Banks got benched in the middle of the game, and a lot of people were questioning why, even myself, and I still don't really understand it. They felt like, the previous week, he kind of gave up on a Jalen Hurts tackle. He said that Jalen Hurts, he thought he was going to slide. But Dexter Lawrence, went ahead of it, pretty much said that we addressed it. You won't see something like that happen again. Deonte Banks gets hurdled by Najee Harris, which, obviously it's a little embarrassing. You don't want to get hurdled, but sometimes players make plays. He hurdled over Deonte Banks. Next thing you know, Deonte Banks is out of the game and he doesn't play the rest of the game. Meanwhile, Adoree Jackson, a familiar face that you're aware of, he's been hurt. Our backup rookie, Trey Hawkins, has been hurt. So we're starting guys like Nick McLeod and Greg Stroman out there at the boundaries. Like, who's to say that we're going to win games like this? And I feel like, benching Deonte Banks was inexcusable. He said that he's going to start this week, no doubt. But even as a player, does that not hurt your morale? Does that not hurt your attitude towards the team? I mean, once again, I didn't see a lack of effort, but apparently that's what Dayball saw. And, a former first rounder, once again, Joe Shane, these guys got to play. These guys cannot be guys that aren't playing for this team.
It sounds like y'all are in a very similar situation than we are with Emmanuel Forbes. So we're going to see how he bounced back from it. Forbes caught him a pick a couple weeks ago. He's not looking awful. So that's a sign of something. There's at least a pulse there with Emmanuel Forbes. So that sounds like a similar situation that we got going on. Appreciate you, Jay Sampson, for the $4.99 donation. He said, if I had the option to blow out the Chicago 40-0 or to win by a lot. No, I'm taking the Hail Mary every time. That was a bucket list, life-changing experience. Have you ever seen your team win by a Hail Mary before?
I have not. Meanwhile, a lot of times our games don't come down to Hail Mary, so that's one. But overall, I mean, completing a Hail Mary is the craziest thing. I feel like if you don't have Aaron Rodgers, you're probably not going to see that come down because Aaron Rodgers seems to be like that. That's what he can do well. Right now, he's kind of struggling, but seeing that win, I shot you a DM right when I got out of work after seeing that W, man. I pretty much was just like, man, even when you think that you play a ugly brand of football that you probably should have taken advantage of the opportunities you had against Chicago, to still come away with that win, man, everything's going right for you guys, man.
Exactly, and it's not a bad opponent that we played that type of game with. It was a gritty victory, but coming off that, we got to take care of business because my whole foresight for this season has changed all of a sudden, as it should. I'm not gonna when people don't switch up. No, you're allowed to change your mind when presented with new data. I went into this season, new front office, new coaching staff, rookie quarterback. I said 8-9. 8 wins doubles the 4 we had last year. That's a good season. All of a sudden, we're 8 weeks into this thing. Jayden Daniels is not only a rookie of the year lock, he's in the conversation for MVP. Dan Quinn is of the favorite for coach of the year. Adam Peters is probably the favorite for executive of the year. Bro, we got a 3rd-round pick for Jahan Dotson. Jahan Dotson is a scout team receiver for the Eagles. Me and you almost have as many yards as Jahan Dotson this year. It's a sad story. It's crazy how 1st-round picks go from 1st-round picks to being Evan Neal and Jahan Dotson within a couple of years, man. You hate to see it, but it's crazy how fast things change. So you're looking at this matchup here with Washington. Obviously, your defense is your strength. Our offense is our strength. But we've suddenly found the skill set that we can get to the quarterback regularly, whether that's with Frankie Louvu being used as an edge sometime, Dante Fowler, Dorrance Armstrong, our rookie 2nd-rounder on the inside, Johnny Newton, who just got his sack back that the league tried to take from him on Sunday. Who is your answer at left tackle with Andrew Thomas down? Because I know that first dude you put out there was some garbage.
Man, once again, I'll really say it. Joe Shane, we were starting Josh Azudu, a former guard coming out of North Carolina. Hey, Azudu was at left tackle. He got a quarterback hurt last year, and let's say, hey, let's not have a backup left tackle. Let's throw him out there again and continue to blow up this offense. Right now, man, we got Hubbard coming off of the couch. He performed against the pass pretty bad, but in the run, he performed well against the Steelers defense, and the Steelers defense is the top defense in this league. I mean, when you think about guys they have on that side of the ball, it's just blocking, pass blocking specifically. We're going to have to help our left tackle out every single play. I don't care if it's Hubbard, Azudu, you name it, man. We're going to need a chip because that's not our contingent. We didn't have a contingency plan for our left tackle. I mean, our left tackle is an all-pro left tackle, and without him being there, man, it hurts his offense dramatically. It's already hard with him. I can't imagine without him. So you're definitely going to see a lot of chips on that left side. You're going to see the running back helping out a bit. And I think on the interior, man, that's going to be where this game is won. I need our guys to step up, whether it's John Michael Schmitz, Runyon, Van Roten. They're going to have to step up against those guys that you have. And I know, I believe, who was it, Payne or Allen that's out for the year?
Allen's out for the year. So it's Payne, and now our rookie 2nd-rounder is the one stepping up. And, boy, he looks good.
Yeah, listen, I mean, we're used to you guys having, good tackles at that position, man. So they're going to have to be up for the challenge. And once again, don't let your left tackle lose you this game. That's the mission. But as you know, left tackle is one of the most important positions on a football team right now, man. They get paid the big bucks for a reason. So I'm going to be clenching on to anything I can. So hopefully they can lock that thing down.
Yeah, man. These teams look dramatically different than the last time we seen each other back in week 2. So as the fan of a 2-6 football team, what do you look forward to at this point of the season? Do you want wins? Does the fan in you still want wins? Do you want this one because it's Washington and you felt like y'all owned us in the past? Do you want to lose as much as possible so you can secure the rights to draft a quarterback? Where are you at this time of year? Because I know me and what my life was like around October 31st, Halloween every year. I was already in mock draft mode. I was already scrolling Tankathon on a regular basis. That's not the case now. I look at us at number 29. Where are y'all even at in draft order right now?
Listen, man, I think I just had a little YouTube short I posted, man, because, I was pretty much saying, what is my life? The Giants get embarrassed on Monday Night Football in a fashion with Daniel Jones throwing a losing interception. And I look at the draft order. The Giants are 9 right now. They're picking at the 9th pick as a 2-6 team. Listen, there's a lot of bad teams around the league right now. I mean, you think about the Jets, you think about the Patriots, the Jaguars, the Panthers, and some of those teams are quarterback needy teams. So I'd be lying to you if I was to tell you that this fan base isn't split. Half of them want to go win these games with Tommy DeVito. The other half wants to go draft the quarterback.
Why though? I don't get it.
It's insane. But I'll even say I might be a little delusional. I find it hard to root against this team on a Sunday, man. On a Sunday, you're still hoping for a W, even if it pushes us away from the quarterback. I just hope somehow, some way it works its way out. But I can't personally wake up on a Sunday morning and say, man, I hope the Giants go stink it up today. I'm used to that. I get irritated with that on the daily.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not hoping for that. I want to see Malik Neighbors ball out. I want to see Tyrone Tracy continue to improve a bit. I want to see this defense can possibly break the sack record. They're not on pace for it, but that's what the type of stuff I want to see. We wait all offseason, which seems like a long offseason when you don't make it to the playoffs. And I'm not trying to quit on the season in 8 weeks, man. I'm not telling you the Giants going to make the playoffs, but I'd be lying to say if I didn't want to, potentially give you guys a trap game, make you guys hurt a bit. We're division rivals for a reason. And whether it's through trauma about how the teams have played over the years or whether it's an actual heated rivalry, I want us to beat you guys. I would be lying to say if I wasn't. Hopefully, all in the end, we still get our quarterback. It might push us away a bit, but I'm trying to get this W, man.
I hear you, but I'm gonna just let you know right now, y'all don't got the facilities for that right now, big man.
Listen.
It'll probably be a close game for a couple quarters. We're gonna come out and NFC East it up for a little bit, but I think we're not gonna play with our food this time. I think they're gonna take personally all the points and the meat that we left on the bone versus the Bears, and they're gonna look at how we played y'all last time and say, yeah, we're not doing that this time. Let's actually. I was watching Monday very close, y'all, versus Pittsburgh, because those are our next 2 games. We got to go up to MetLife on Sunday to see y'all. Then the Steelers got to come down to us. And I was watching it saying, wow, like 8-2 could really be possible. I've never seen 8-2. I've never seen 7-2. The last time I seen 6-2 was 16 years ago. So I can't see us stopping it this week versus the New York Giants, but is there a specific quarterback you got in mind right now? Because I know I was looking at all the shiny toys at this point last year for my team. Is there someone you think is the perfect fit for Dayball's offense?
Yeah, man. I think when you look at all the quarterbacks right now, and it's amazing because, after this past draft, the big talk was, hey, man, this quarterback class coming up is one of the weakest we've seen in a while. We're not going to be able to get one. Obviously, the guys, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, and even guys like Carson Beck at one point, which Carson Beck's tank, his stock is tanked. But even seeing it in the comments talking about Quinn Ewers, there's a couple intriguing guys. Personally, I'm not a fan of any of them except for those top guys, man. I think about Shedeur and I think about Cam Ward right now. Cam Ward is probably going to be trending to be the Heisman pick, but, picking a quarterback out of the college and hopefully he's going to turn around your team is not an easy thing to do. It's pretty much a crapshoot. So, in my opinion, man, I got my eyes on Cam Ward. He's made crazy throws and off cadence throws, and you need a guy that's talented, man. Bump all this, Daniel Jones being accurate and performing and limiting plays. Overall, man, we need a guy that's going to turn around this team and ultimately just have all the talent you need. Cam Ward has been that so far. I'm worried about him heading into the league though because he's made some cross body throws. Crazy throws to guys that are wide open. When you come into the NFL, the margin of error is a lot more slim than it is in college. Some guys are not running as wide open as you see on Saturdays. So I am a little bit worried about that, man. But right now, man, it's Cam Ward's season, 100%.
Cam Ward, but you got to lose some games, man. You got to lose some games, man. I'll tell you what, Giants fans that want to see pointless wins, I know you got that fandom in you. I know you bleed blue. I promise you, losing 8 in a row and falling to 4-13 may have just changed our lives for the next 10 to 15 years. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and you got to take some L's for the betterment of your franchise. But in you guys' sake, I hope you guys win like 6 or 7 games, and because y'all got 2 wins and y'all are like the 9th pick. So there's not a lot of margin for error to make sure you're in position to draft a quarterback. Then you're talking, we got to trade up type situation. I think Dion is going to finesse Shedeur to Vegas. That feels like a perfect fit for me for who he is. He sounds like the attraction for Las Vegas, but you got a long way to go to get there. So I want to ask a couple hypotheticals for you because I want to know how you would feel about these situations.
Yeah.
If the Giants say, fuck it, one more year, Daniel Jones and Brian Daboll together, like together in unison. Like we're going to give it one more shot. We're going to bring the band back one more time. Your reaction would be?
Listen, my reaction is all Giants fans watching right now, Burn down MetLife Stadium. That's my reaction. You want to roll it with Daniel Jones? You can't throw him out there in MetLife because we know what he plays like in MetLife Stadium. I think it's impossible to go out there and after having a bad year like it has been so far, and it'll continue to be. I mean, it's only a matter of a couple of weeks for him to get benched. It's only a matter of a couple of weeks for him to get cut because, man, his cap hit next year is pretty high. We could save a little bit of money next year. His contract was kind of structured with the heaviest part of it in the first 2 seasons. Yep, and then I know a lot of people make a big deal about how much money he's making. Does he deserve it? Probably not.
Absolutely
but luckily,
not.
His cap hit is not going to be too crazy next year. We're able to save a couple bucks, and there's no way this team throws it out next year with Daniel Jones and Daboll again, man. Daboll is kind of on the hot seat. I'm kind of at wits with him where I'm just like, hey, if he's here next year, cool. If he's not, cool. Like, in my opinion, I think this team does need a little bit of a change. And if you were watching that Monday night game, man, we were sloppy. We were sloppy. And I said it to everyone that was on my channel on my live stream, man. This whole illegal shifts and illegal man downfield, I feel like we've seen this called at an all-time high this year. And
trust me. Trust me.
It's not good for the league. It's really
the Bears and the Giants game. Those are the only reasons why we didn't run up the score both of those games. Trust me.
It's bad, but even as a head coach, man, your team got to be prepared for those things. That 2-point conversion call, and I know we're getting specific on certain calls, but we look like a clown show. You're having 4 offensive linemen split out wide in front of Malik Neighbors, and one guy gets through to tackle Malik Neighbors and blow up that 2-point conversion play. I mean, when you look at that, man, you got to look at the head coach and say, what are we throwing out there, man? Daniel Jones is out here cussing up a storm and getting fired up, and he shows no emotion. So if he's showing emotion, man, there's other things that are lingering on behind this team. Daboll and DJ together cannot be a thing next year.
Man, that 2-point conversion call. Why do teams keep running these bullshit formations where they put like one lineman and they put y'all have 5 guys and they all managed to not block the one person they needed to convert the 2-point conversion?
It's sick. And once again, I'll repeatedly say it, man. It's already hard enough to run our offense. Now we're going to split people wide and expect them to perform that way. It just doesn't add up, man. And of course, the Giants, Daniel Jones and the Giants are going to continue to be the laughingstock because they do things like that.
That shit was hilarious, man. And also, Daniel Jones on the game. Watching the Manning cast, I love watching them watch bad quarterback play because it frustrates them so they can't even contain themselves. Eli is like having a whole attack watching. Come on, you gotta bring the tight end over, Daniel. You gotta bring the tight. How do you not account for TJ Watt, the best defensive player in the entire NFL? It's just mental mistake. But watching that game did make me feel like Pittsburgh, while we know what Tomlin and that defense can do, they can be had, man. Y'all had Monday.
100%. And like you said, I mean, you know our passing attack, it's not really there, but you've seen Slayton go for over 100 yards. That's a big piece for me where I think they can be had down the field. Their DBs are not as talented as you think they would be. It obviously starts with TJ Watt and Highsmith getting after the quarterback. If you get after the quarterback, it makes things hard. In the first half, they had no sacks on us, and you saw a lot of success coming out of it. We didn't get in the end zone because it's hard for us to get in the end zone, but we were moving the ball at will. And even seeing a guy like Tyrone Tracy, man, they were gashing him, and this Steelers defense was a top rushing defense in the league. So obviously, I think for you guys will perform pretty well against the Steelers, and you guys put up more of a fight than us. But even look at it on the offensive side of the ball, they are not a great offensive team either. I mean, you saw it when they were getting in the red zone. They were trying some things, and they weren't able to move the ball as much. Najee has himself a game here and there, but he's not an explosive runner.
That punt return helped.
And oh man, don't even. there was definitely. I think we're all watching the same game, right? Our punter got tackled on that same play, and yet we get called for once again illegal formation on a punt. Like, these calls are bad, but especially when you're missing on calls like that, that changes the game. I mean, if you look at our defense, we gave up 1 offensive touchdown. That's it. They gave up a punt return for a touchdown, and that was the difference in the game. We lose by 8. So, once again, for this Giants team, the defense is always going to show up. They're going to be able to get after the quarterback and try to limit things. But if we're not able to match up offensively, man, it's going to be tough for us.
At 2-6, with potentially a GM and a coach that could be on the hot seat at some point, is there maybe a trade y'all could have in mind? I mean, I just saw a quarterback get benched in Indianapolis that took himself out of football game last week, and Anthony Richardson. Is there anything y'all could do to give fans some excitement before the deadline on November 5th?
Listen, I think definitely being a buyer in this market with this team right now would honestly work worse towards our team than good. Listen, there's no reason we should be trading any assets to go get a guy. But if it does bring on a guy, which I'm not a big fan of, Anthony Richardson, I liked him out of college, but you see him there on the tape, man. I think he's getting benched for his play too. Not only for him tapping out, being tired, but
he sucks.
His completion percentage is like 40%. Like this guy, the games that he's putting up points in, he's completing 9 passes a game. So Anthony Richardson getting benched, he should start soon. But how crazy of a world it is that we're benching Bryce Young, we're benching benching Richardson in year 2, while Daniel Jones is going on year 6. I mean, how crazy of a league is it?
He can't keep getting away with this.
And he is. But, yeah, man, unless it's a guy like Anthony Richardson or Bryce Young, which I do not think the Giants will be able to pull off a trade like that. And I think if the Colts or the Panthers were to do a move like that, man, you got to start questioning what they're doing. I mean, the Panthers are going to end up with the first overall pick, like, what, three years in a row? So maybe they're selecting a quarterback and they move off of Bryce Young, but I just simply don't see it.
They may need to just chill out for quarterback for a few years and build the entire ecosystem there, because now that Dan Snyder does not own us, Dave Tepper has taken the place for most meddlesome, ridiculous owner in the league. But the worst part is he has so much more money, so much more power, so much more reach. He's the second richest owner in the league. So the Panthers fan, they might be fucked for the next couple decades. But, man, I'm looking at Bryce getting benched and coming back in, Anthony Richardson getting benched, and I say, can't relate, because my boy Jayden is out here balling, man. It sucks to not hit on the guy that you drafted in the top 5 of the draft. Can't relate to that because my boy is out here in MVP conversation through the first 8 weeks of the season. So how do you slow down Jayden Daniels in this Washington offense on Sunday?
Now, I think a lot of people probably have the same mindset heading into the matchups with you guys, and obviously it's containing Jayden Daniels. The backbreakers are letting him escape the pocket and run for a first down or a third down that you kind of have things, muddied up and covered. This pass rush that we have going on for us, man, Azeez Ojulari has stepped up in Kayvon Thibodeau's absence. Kayvon balls out against you guys normally, so it sucks that he's not going to be on the field. But I think about applying pressure to Jayden. That's the only way we're going to be able to stack up with these guys, man. Our DBs, once again, if you see a guy like Stroman out there, man, I'm going to be upset, but I'm not surprised. Our depth at cornerback position right now is pretty thin, but we're going to need to get after Jayden Daniels as much as we can. It all stops to start stopping the run and letting you guys get into drop back mode, and hopefully getting after Jayden enough that he's not going to be able to hit those guys. I mean, I've seen it in the past couple of weeks, and I think about that Bengals throw still. We're a couple of weeks removed from that, but that throw where he's going to get hit, and he lets it fly, and Terry comes down with it on that right sideline. Plays like that, you kind of have to tip your cap to it, man. He was getting pressure, and he still made those throws. So your quarterback is still able to do those things. But for me, it's the backbreakers, man. Don't let him get a first down. Don't let him escape the pocket. And bring him down, please. I think if you think about our matchup, Micah McFadden blitzed right up the middle, had your guy running 20 yards behind the offensive line, and he was still able to scramble out of that and potentially get yards. I know with his rib, which you can let me know a little bit more info on that. I know he had that rib injury. Did he look any different this past game against Chicago? Did he look any different? Which I didn't think so either.
Not at all. It was business as usual. He knew he was playing the entire week. He held his rib a couple times because he took some shots. He's fine. He's just banged up. There's nothing crazy or structural going on there. Don't worry about he's still Jayden Daniels. That's JD5 you're getting out there.
And listen, if that's the case, man, once again, he's gonna be trying to do those things. So the Giants definitely need to limit those plays. And once again, man, if there's any way the Giants are gonna win this game, they're gonna have to put up some points against you guys. The Giants defense can limit them as much as they want, but we need some type of production out of our offense. We need some.
And Cooley, you are not lying. It's my brother right here. What's going on, Cooley? We have single-handedly got Daniel Jones paid in this league. it feels like 80% of his production in this league has come against Washington, and it hasn't come versus anyone else. Well, he had the Vikings playoff game. Even in the year that got him paid, he had 15 touchdowns and 17 starts. The signs were always there that maybe you did not give this guy top rate quarterback money, but I'm glad you guys ended up doing so. So, what is the amount of points you think y'all need to score for this to be a game on Sunday?
Listen, I mean, if you're asking me, do I expect your team to go out and convert all field goals, not punt, and not score a single touchdown? That would be ridiculous. You guys put up 21 points with straight field goals. So best believe if you got your kicker on your fantasy team, make sure you're starting it because I know I do. But if the Giants are looking to win this game, man, they got to put up more than 24 points. They really do. I can't see this team scoring 30, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this Giants offense needs to put up 30 points to win this game. I think you can put up 24 to 21. I can lean on that a bit. And it's asking a lot from our defense, but if you look at who we played and you look at what we've been giving up, I mean, this Giants defense have only given up over 30 points to the Eagles. That's it. That's really it. Offensively, they're able to slow some guys down. We did face you guys once, and obviously adjustments will be made on both sides, but hopefully this Giants defense can continue to live up to the hype. And if you limit the Commanders' offense to 21 points, man, that's a W. So if the Giants are going to be able to win this game, they got to score at least 24 points. It's hard to come by, especially at home when, once we talked about it already, one offensive touchdown of the year is bad. It is bad, but if the Giants are looking to change things, man, against Washington, they need to find some old fire.
All right, well, since we're there, let me get your score prediction for Sunday. Win or loss, give me a score. Let me know some let me know, paint the picture of what you see taking place at MetLife Stadium at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard on Sunday, November 3rd.
Listen, looking at this matchup, I'm going to be honest, I was worried Daniel Jones was going to have a great game against the Steelers. You know why? Because he's been inconsistent since the beginning of his career. He's up and he's down. He's hot, then he's cold. You see him 1 week going off against Seattle, having 2 touchdowns and throwing for over 250, and then you see him next week against the Bengals, stinking it up at home. I think if we're going to win this game, and you heard it, I want our team to win. It's going to be scored 24 to 21, man. Daniel Jones throws for over 225. Now, I feel like that's a good spot for him to be in, especially with some people sleep on his athleticism. He's had some good runs. He's going to need to take off with the ball a little bit. And Malik Neighbors, we drafted you 6th overall. You've been challenging the offense. You've been challenging Dayball and Daniel Jones. You need to go out there and have a good game like you did against Washington in the first game, man. Having over 130 yards in that first matchup. I need a Malik Neighbors type game at home. Bump all that stats away. Bump all those other things that we do on the road. I need to see it at home in front of your home crowd. And I know Giants fans want something to cheer about. They're waiting to erupt with certain things that this team is able to do. So if we're going to win, man, once again, limiting you guys to 21 points, Malik Neighbors, go have yourself a day. And Daniel Jones, don't turn over the ball. That interception you threw at the end of the Steelers game was inexcusable. If we're going to go out there and do that, kiss this game goodbye. We might be seeing Drew Lock in the 4th quarter. And will that be a good thing or a bad thing? We'll see. It could get ugly. So that's my score prediction, man.
Okay. So with divisional games, you have to be careful because you can almost throw all context, all new, everything you know about both teams. You can kind of throw it in the trash can. You can shelve it a little bit, especially with the history of these teams. You know, the Giants usually turn up versus Daniel Jones and all that. What I will say to that is we are not the same team we were 6 weeks ago. We are not at all on either side of the ball. Offensively, I've seen us since then go crazy a few times. Defensively, we are really putting stuff together. Our last couple games versus the Carolina Panthers, they did nothing. We shut them out and gave them a Salvation Army touchdown at the end of that game. Last week versus the Bears, we shut them out for 90% of the game, and they started to fold at some point because offense didn't take care of their business. I think we're going to get the poetic justice that Daniel Jones deserved. I think we're going to see Daniel Jones' cord get pulled on Sunday. He is going to be removed from this game when Washington wins by 3 possessions on Sunday. 34-13. I got a 21-point victory because we have to stomp the Giants. The Giants have done enough damage to this franchise over the year. We got this boy paid. Now it's time to pull the plug on his career as a starter. I'm going 34-13. I'm going 4 Jayden Daniels touchdowns, 3 through the air and 1 on the ground. And we're going to cash in on those drives that we settled for field goals last time we seen y'all. 7 scoring drives and 7 field goals. Not again, especially we're coming in a little bit upset because we weren't able to capitalize on the 490 yards of offense we put up against the Bears last week. I'm going 34-13, man. That should be enough to get Daniel Jones finally pulled, right?
Listen, there's going to be a lot of Giants fans that are probably hoping for that to happen. Trust me. There's a lot of fans that want that to happen. The following week, we do play the Panthers in Germany. And to think that we were almost in slate for Andy Dalton and Drew Lock in Germany, I think it's still on the table. So maybe, man, maybe this is the week. You guys have all the reason to do so. My purely optimism is what we've matched up against with Washington. And overall, once again, this defense is still there. The defense still has its moments. And all I can say is, man, don't give us anything. Don't give us anything. If we were able to force a turnover against the Steelers, we don't force so many interceptions. I know Jayden doesn't throw the ball to the other team that much, but don't fumble the ball. Don't give us any signs of hope, because if this defense gets any type of lead, it's going to be hard to do anything. We have 2 wins to our name, but if you look at those 2 W's, man, the Browns offense wasn't able to get anything going in that matchup. In Seattle, hey, they look like frauds right now, but at that point, they were a high-powered offense, and they weren't able to do much. So we'll see what happens this Sunday, man.
How are you going to muster up the courage to get excited for Panthers Giants in Germany?
Hey, we see the jokes happen. I'm sure you've seen it, man. They said Germany should start a war with us after putting us out there. And I can't, go against that, bro. I mean, I'm not flying out to Germany to go watch that game.
That's a nasty matchup on Germany. And like, do you even want to win that game? That could have draft implications, like, so say y'all going into that game 2-7, which is probably going to be the case, by the way. Do you even want to win that game, or do you need to lose that versus a team that you're possibly competing for a quarterback with?
It's crazy to think, as bad as we feel sometimes after a loss, that there's teams out there that are worse than us. The Panthers are a team that is worse than us, and it's the sad truth. Of course, at that point, if we lose this game against Washington, you're down 2 games in the division. You're going to get another L against the Cowboys and the Eagles this year. You got to hope for more losses, and I think a Panthers win is detrimental to this team. It really is. They probably will get the W because we're just simply more talented than them. But, man, if I can move my way above the Panthers in the draft status, man, I'll be rooting for it, because once again, Cam Ward, Shador, all the other quarterbacks are going to be at the top of that draft, man. The only way you get there is if you're up there. Not teams. Teams are not going to trade away their position and pass up on quarterbacks like that. So, yeah, man, I'm definitely not rooting for a W against the Panthers.
NFC East is looking like a 2-team race because Dallas looks like absolute garbage. Like, they look like they're having an identity crisis, a midlife crisis, and a big Jerry Jones problem over there right now. You played against Philadelphia a couple weeks ago. That game was not as lopsided as the score looked. For quite some time, y'all were just sacking each other's quarterbacks, and it was a close game, and nobody was doing anything. What the hell happened to push that game into the Eagles side so lopsided?
Listen, man, once again, the offense not scoring touchdowns is the biggest thing, and not moving the ball was the biggest thing. But like you said, the game wasn't as far apart as the score makes it seem. I'm a big believer. Listen, I hate the Eagles. I hate the Cowboys. I really don't hate y'all that much, but you're in the division, so I can't love you guys either. Exactly. Jalen Hurts is not a good quarterback. People give me slack for it. People hate on me for it. I had an Eagles fan in the comments after I had a prediction video where I had the Giants stopping them out, and obviously it didn't happen. He's over here saying, how do you feel after Saquon scores 160 yards, 2 touchdowns, Jalen Hurts, all that stuff? I said, you guys still stink because that quarterback stinks. If you're able to stop the run against the Eagles and put Jalen Hurts in a position where he has to throw to get back to the game, he struggles. He has a good receiver in A.J. Brown that can come down with the gimme balls that are
Great
up
receiver.
top.
Yep.
Devontae Smith is still a great route runner, but if you get Jalen Hurts rattled, man, he's not a good quarterback, and I still stand on that. Saquon balled out against us, and rightfully so. I mean, it was an emotional game for him coming back, and he was trying to downplay it. But overall, that Eagles team and the Cowboys, to be fair, too, they're not good teams, man. The Eagles, I can't say they're not a good team, but if you put their quarterback in a position that he needs to beat you, they're going to struggle. They are going to struggle.
I think the Eagles lack grit. They're not a gritty football team, and they don't like to punch back once they're punched. And I agree with Jalen Hurts, man. I've seen him play good football. I remember the Super Bowl, how he played against Patrick Mahomes, but we haven't seen that consistently. He does not consistently layer the football, make tight window throws, or throw with touch timing or anticipation. So I get what you're saying in that aspect. They're feeling insecure over there right now. They see Jayden and they see that boy 5 coming. Oh, Hurts has already been there, done that, all that good stuff. Daniels is way ahead of where Hurts was at this point of his career as a passer. Like, what are we talking about? Rookie year, Jalen Hurts, they were still calling him a running back at that point. But based on what you've seen from Philly so far and based on what you've seen from Washington, we got to see them in a couple weeks. Who do you think has the edge to win this division through 8 weeks?
Listen, man, I think when you look at it, the Eagles have the stars, they have the talent, but you guys are playing. You guys are playing with the fire right now. And I think, once again, speaking on the future of your team, you guys are excited because you have the second most cap space next year, and you have the open spots to potentially add guys that'll be a difference maker on your team, man. If I'm looking at it right now with the way the team's playing, man, this is an offensive-driven league. I don't care what they say about the defense and defense wins championships. Right now, this league is different. You got to win at the quarterback position. And right now, your quarterback is playing better football, man. Stop Saquon Barkley, and you're able to get to this offense a lot easier than it seems. So right now, I'm looking at you guys running away with it, man. You guys are playing with fire, and you want momentum on your side. Philly, I hate them dirty birds. So even if you ask me this question, you guys are saying the same record, and it seems like the Eagles are the better team. I'm not rooting for the Eagles, man. Them dirty birds are something else. They're talented. They have the stars, but they're very vulnerable. That defense is not the same defense that they've had the past couple of years. Darius Slay is going on. Hey, he's gonna be out the league pretty soon. Not saying he's playing bad football, but when you look at the other quarterback position, they got Quinyon Mitchell out there. Their safeties still get cooked here and there. The Giants weren't able to take advantage of those matchups, but I think a team like you and other teams can have them be had.
Hey, my guy, ball knower right here. We got a ball knower on the show right now, and that was real objective analysis. We're gonna see Philadelphia in a couple weeks, but man, he got it 24-21. He picked his Giants, of course. I got 34-13 Washington Commanders over the Giants. But looking at it from like a full scale thing, the Lions are like the only real scary team in this conference right now.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, the NFC is pretty wide open. And I actually had a conversation with my barber. He was pretty much saying, who do you have in the NFC? And I'm like, outside the Lions, I mean, the Vikings are going off of back-to-back losses, losing against the Rams. When you look at it, there's not a top team outside of Washington that's really, being up there. To win a game and put up 52 points with throwing under 100 yards, that's hard to do. That's crazy. If you're asking me who's going to be the next head coach for the Giants or who would I want it to be, Ben Johnson is the guy. I don't care what nobody says. I was hyped with Daboll. I was. But when you have a guy like Ben Johnson that offense is probably exactly what he wanted. You have Jared Goff, a pretty accurate thrower that's able to make some throws, but you also have a bruising back and a speedster with a good offensive line. Once again, 52 points on the team, which I believe they've done that twice this year. If not, they hung up over 40 against Dallas. It's crazy to see. And even with that, man, overall, you still got to play the game. So I think even as good as they looked against some bad teams, which once again, Dallas, that team is not the greatest team that we've seen. The Lions being at the top of the NFC, it might not be that far from you guys, man. You got to play those games for a reason.
Yep, I need their division. I need the Vikings and the Packers to muck it up over there with Detroit, but I'm not mad at you. I've been there wanting Ben. I've been there, so I know what that's like. He's once again going to be a highly coveted guy. Maybe he doesn't leave y'all on red in the air like he did us when we were on the way to Detroit to interview him last year, but it worked out for the better. We put all the right guys in places, and we've got this shit going better than I've seen it in the last 25 years here. So that was interesting that you said that, because my next question was going to be, who do you want to coach your team? So if you had to predict it, though, does Daboll make it through this season?
Man, you've seen the reports coming out about it. The biggest thing was, as this hot seat continues to get hotter, John Mara addressed the media and said, hey, there's no plans to go ahead and fire or make any changes in season. We're going to wait until the offseason, and they're pretty safe. All those words do not mean a thing. They do not mean a thing. We've seen it with other coaches that were in this position. And I understand the Giants coaching staff has been a turnstile for a while when you think about Joe Judge, Pat Shurmur, and all these other guys. But you lose a couple more games. You lose 6 games in a row. It can get ugly, and it's hard to see Brian Daboll, escaping that. Because regardless about how we feel about the Giants should lose, and that's the best interest of the team, these coaches are still game planning every week. These players are still playing with their hearts out, trying to win these games. And if you go out there and lose 7 games in a row, show no signs of life, and continue to be the bottom, offense in the league, he's going to be out of there soon, man. He really will be. And in my opinion, man, I hope it's a clean sweep if we decide to do so. I wouldn't be upset if Brian Daboll's back. I really wouldn't, because I want to see him with his own quarterback and potentially try to, groom that guy up. But it's going to be hard to get there when you're losing 7 games in a row and you're putting up 1 offensive touchdown. 1 offensive touchdown at home. It's going to be hard to live through that.
Yep, and watching him in his Ozempic rage on the sideline each week. He's breaking headsets. He's throwing playbooks, man. I actually like Brian Daboll, the coach, and I hate that he's had to go through his entire tenure as your coach with Daniel Jones as his quarterback. But at the same time, I don't want to see y'all do well. So I'm here for it. I'm here for y'all in Dallas having to start over. Shit, I'm here for the Eagles collapsing and having to fire Sirianni. You know what would be cool? If we go into 25 and Washington is the only front office and head coaching staff that remains from the previous year. I'm crossing my fingers and I'm wishing the worst of all my enemies. Let my folks know where they can find you on your way out, my guy.
Hey, listen, man. Once again, appreciate you for letting me jump on, and appreciate everyone that's in the chat right now. Make sure y'all liking the stream if you haven't already. But man, you can search me up on the Juke on YouTube, man. We cover the Giants, and hopefully, listen, you're gonna see a lot of quarterback content possibly coming soon if we walk out with the L against this game. But the Juke on YouTube, the Juke __ on Twitter, man, and the Juke Media on Instagram. We're looking to continue to push out that content, and who knows, man. I mean, hopefully next year, I'm talking about a guy like you are in Jayden Daniels, and we got a lot of things that we're looking forward to, man. The Giants have had key spots of optimism, but we're looking for sustaining growth. I'm tired of the 1 year that you go make it to the playoffs, and then the next 4 years you're out of it. I'm over that. Let's build this thing up properly, starting off with the quarterback, and hopefully we're on our way up. But yeah, man, go subscribe to the Juke if you haven't already.
Absolutely, man. And ball knower, my guy knows ball. He's objective. Make sure y'all go follow him up, because I'm pretty sure he's going to have some good draft content coming up soon, because they're about to fall to 2-7 this weekend. Because I'm going to apologize beforehand. It's not going to look like week 2 this weekend, my guy.
Hey, listen, once again, man, you play these games for a reason. You asked me about being the Browns or being the Seahawks, I would have told you no. So it's only Giants fitting. It's only fitting for these Giants to possibly do that. But right now, man, it's going to be a tall task for us, man. But regardless, win or loss, you're going to see me. You're going to hear from me. And definitely a lot more to come for this Giants team and the future of this NFC East, man.
Absolutely. This will not be the last time that we collaborate. Thank you guys for pulling up. We're not doing a 2 or 3 hour preview tonight. We're going to wrap it up at this one. I got more content coming at some point tomorrow during Halloween. Y'all enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night and your hump day. 34-13 Commanders. I'm manifesting a 21-point victory. Talk soon. Let's get it, y'all. Hell to the Washington